artists, it's Catherine Rayfurrow with Acting for Your Life, and welcome to our YouTube channel. Very excited to have you along today because today we are releasing archived episodes of our famed podcast and turning them into webcasts here on YouTube. And I can't think of any better episode to start with than our first celebrity interview, which was with C Thomas Howell. I was fortunate enough to meet Tommy at the Fright Night Film Festival here in Louisville, Kentucky back in July of 2011. We had a great conversation about the business, about what it was like to be an actor. He found out about Acting for Your Life, fell in love with the podcast, and agreed to be our first celebrity guest. So here you go. Here is C Thomas Howell from July 2011 with Acting for Your Life. I am here with Mr. C Thomas Howell. Thanks so much for joining us, Tommy.
My pleasure.
We are here at the Fright Night Fandom Fest in Louisville, Kentucky, and just so happens that we started to talk about acting, and you know how I am actors and talking about technique and method and everything, and we had a conversation about training and different things, and Tommy and I were talking a little bit about Meisner and how it's helped him. So Tommy, tell our listeners out there your thoughts on Meisner and just how it's helped you as an actor.
Well, you know, as a child actor, I really had no technique, and that's possibly the best way to start. You know, you just are in the moment and sort of doing the best you can and going for it. And I found when I was young, I started working with Larry Moss, who's an amazing acting teacher, and he has basically, you know, perfected the Meisner technique and worked with a tremendous amount of talented people. And I was studying with him when I was about 16 after I'd done, you know, I'd say, half a dozen films.
Yeah.
And I decided, well, if I'm going to do this for a living, I better figure out what the hell I'm doing. So I was fortunate enough to meet Larry at a young age, and believe it or not, he went with me onto location during The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
And so I had basically a 3-month intensive with Larry. And what I loved about the technique the most was it didn't really take me away from what I already knew.
Yeah.
You know, the Meisner technique, when you break it down, is pretty much about being in the moment, you know, and listening.
Yeah.
And I think most actors don't listen enough.
Yeah.
You know, they especially green actors, they'll go and sort of rehearse their faces off and they make their choices at home instead of just knowing the words and coming to the set and making your choices and making those discoveries on film or in the moment. And that's the best work.
Yeah.
You know, when you start to regurgitate choices that you made at home in the shower or in the car on the way to work, you become robotic, and there's nothing organic about it. There's no nuances to it. But really listening and being in the moment and being responsive to what's happening in front of you and taking risks and not being afraid to make those changes and really
I'm waiting for just a second, okay?
not forcing moments, just allowing moments
to happen. For sure.
is for me what Meisner's all about, and that's really what my work's all about. So, you know, my pitfalls, my downfalls as a young actor were really stifling. That was just because I wanted to be good. I wanted to be accepted. So I tried harder than, you know, you really need to. I mean, when it gets down to it, acting is pretty simple.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people make it a lot harder than they should, and they start forcing moments, and they start quote-unquote acting instead of just being present and living the moment
And being there.
and trusting.
Yeah.
You know, and then walking away, not trying to win an award every line that you deliver, and really just knowing that you're good enough with what you've got.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing for new actors to learn.
Yeah.
And so I'm always amazed when you find a child actor like Dakota Fanning, for example, who is so gifted at just being in the moment, and you watch her work all through, you know, her childhood to where she's at now. I think she's 18 now. She's always phenomenal, but it's because she's always present and in the moment. And you never see her forcing. And you can really tell a good director when you're working with kids, because kids don't have any real preconceived ideas when they come in. They don't make choices in the shower. They just show up and go to work.
They do their thing, yeah.
And that's really what adult actors need to do.
Yeah.
Just show up and go for it.
One of the things I really love about your work is eye contact. I mean, you really you make eye contact and you observe the pause, and you're really from moment to moment to moment to moment. How is that going from a young actor that realized that he needed training and kind of moving forward? Did you always have that connection? Were you always about the eye contact?
Well, a lot of that just comes from listening.
Yeah.
So if you make eye contact, generally you're connected. But I'm starting to go the other way. Like I watch. One of my favorite actors is Robert Downey Jr. And you'd be amazed at how much eye contact he doesn't make, and he will steal a scene from you by doing that. He won't look at you during an important moment, and I find that to be riveting. So I'm starting to go that way myself now. But you go through phases, and you recognize habits, and you're constantly challenging yourself to break those habits and make changes. And when you've been around as long as I have, you'll experience moments that you've shot before.
Yeah.
Whether you're being arrested by the cop or whatever it is, right? You try to, or at least I do. I try to find new ways to play those same moments.
Yeah.
And I find myself recognizing some habits, and by abandoning those safety nets, I find the work becomes a lot deeper and a lot more interesting. And for example, I don't know why, but I've been playing a lot of bad guys lately, and
not typecasting, right?
Well, I mean, oddly enough, I'm a pretty nice guy. I guess it depends on who you talk to. But one of the things that Rutger shared with me, and he was probably the most important influence on me personally, still to this day, as far as a mentorship and watching somebody and learning from somebody on set. But, he's probably one of my favorite bad guys ever on film, whether it's Blade Runner or, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But I asked him one day, I said, Rutger, everybody's so impressed with your work, and you're such an you play, amazing bad guys. What is it? What's your secret there? And he sort of calmly looked at me with those steel blue eyes, and as he was chewing on the end of a filterless Camel cigarette, he sort of, with that husky voice, leaned in and said, I don't play bad guys. And that affected me.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than a bad guy playing or making a choice to where he's playing a bad guy.
Yeah.
And basically what that did was, that thought rattled around in my brain like a BB in a matchbox ever since I heard it. And, now when I'm offered these roles, like I just had a stint on Criminal Minds where I played the Reaper.
Yeah.
And, it's some of my best work, to be honest. And I play a guy on Southland right now on TNT. I play a cop that's not the most likable guy on the force. But, my key is to find those moments of humanity. I go the opposite way of playing a bad guy.
Yeah.
I try to find those moments that are real and connected and deliver a whole round character that is the exact opposite of what you might think a bad guy is.
Yeah.
And that's really working for me. So... it's like I said, it's a lot easier than you think. I think most actors overthink things.
Yeah.
And they get lost in wanting to be accepted and wanting to be good when you need to throw all that out and just show up and go to work.
Sure.
I think Woody Allen said 90% of it is just showing up. And when you're young, you don't understand what that is.
Sure.
But, I'm 44. I've been doing this since I was about 6 years old, and I'm starting to scratch the surface. Just show up.
Process.
Just show up, man.
Just show up and be there.
Stop working so hard. And I think if most actors would trust that, they'd be a lot better at what they do.
One more quick question. One of the big parts about the Acting for Your Life program is that we talk about life management and professional development and how important that is. The life management side of your life is just as balanced as the professional side.
I wish I would have learned that at a younger age.
But that's what I want you to tell my listeners that the importance of knowing that the life management side of who you are is just as important as the professional development.
Well, it's pretty simple. It's like that T-shirt that you read, Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten.
Yeah.
Just don't hit other people. Share. The simple things, man.
Keep it simple.
It's amazing how we forget that. But it comes down to pretty much you get what you put out.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many friends and people I know have just wrecked their lives through drugs and alcohol and poor choices and overspending and living, outside of their means and all those things that seem to be pretty basic that you tend to get lost in.
Yeah.
And really it comes down to about the work. If you're a real actor, it's always about the work. It's not about awards, it's not about accolades, it's not about the money. It's about connecting with people, meeting people, and making that energetic exchange. And I like to be treated nicely, so I treat people nicely. And I help people and they help me.
Yeah.
And it's pretty simple. And if you can try to keep your life simple and not overspend, because they don't teach you how to behave when you're a movie star. It's up to you, and hopefully your mother and father raised you properly, but if they didn't, just stop and make some simple decisions. We all innately know what the right thing is. So I think it's really important to establish that and question yourself, why are you doing this? Are you doing it because you want fame and recognition, which is not the right reason, because you're probably not going to get it. It's a hard road. The acting road is a tough road, and it's filled with a lot of no's and not this times. But if I often say, you got to be sort of like a tortoise. You got to have the hard shell on the back and the soft stomach on the front, because when you get the work, you want to be sensitive and you want to be connected and you want to be real, but you got to be able to hear the word no a lot, and you got to just, like water off a duck's back, you got to just let it go. And I also believe in doing everything and anything you possibly can as an actor, because you learn so much. And whether it's plays or, whatever sort of theater, commercials, films, independence, do whatever you possibly can get your hands on. First of all, work breeds work. And second of all, it's all about experience. And until you get that experience, you're pretty much out there dog paddling, And then once you find yourself feeling comfortable, you realize you can relax and, well, hey, if I don't do anything, I'll float. And that's really what it's about. Quit trying so hard.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I can't thank you enough. It's really awesome.
I'm glad we did it.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We want to thank C Thomas Howell again for being our very first celebrity guest back in July of 2011. For more information on Acting for Your Life, please visit actingforyourlife.com. That's acting, the number 4, yourlife.com, or send us an email at actingforyourlife@gmail.com. That's all spelled out, actingforyourlife@gmail.com. There's more to come with our archived episodes. You never know who you're going to hear on the Acting for Your Life YouTube channel. So come back and visit us. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We've got live classes and events coming up very, very soon right here on the Acting for Your Life YouTube channel. Now, as we always say, go out there and break some legs.